Hey guys, welcome back to the How to Build series where we're going through every single champion in the game, rare and above, and I'm putting together a quick reference, quick build guide for newer players, earlier game players that just need a little guidance with a particular champion. I want to say I'm not going to go into late game builds and late game strats and masteries because that can get a little convoluted and can be a little specific depending on how you want to utilize a particular champion. So it's just an early game reference for newer players who just need a little guidance. Quick disclaimer before I get into it, I'm not saying I know better than everybody else. I'm not saying my way is the best way or the only way. I'm just trying to put out a quick, easy to access reference for newer players who just have some questions about a particular champion. So I am going to kind of run through this as I have a lot of these to do, so get the notepad ready, get ready on the pause and rewind, and let's go ahead and get into it. With the last rare in the Bannerlords faction, his name is the Chevalier. Right off the bat, he is a Void champion, so he automatically has, that automatically gives him a bump because he's going to be weak nowhere. Nowhere is he going to be at a disadvantage based on his affinity. So, granted, he's not going to have an advantage over anyone either, but his advantage is that he has no disadvantages. So, worth noting. He is a defense champion, so let's take a look at his base stats. Excuse me. Base HP is pretty nice. It's pretty up there for a rare. Base defense is pretty nice. Pretty nice base defense. And then his speed is okay. Run of the mill, 98's right under 100. So yeah, nothing outrageous in his base stats. His HP is nice, but pretty standard run of the mill, I would say. So let's talk about his kit. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Has a 20% chance of repeating the attack. So he's potentially hitting 4 times with his default skill. I don't think I've come across that yet. Will ignore block damage and shield buffs. Okay, so blue potion dungeon, magic potion dungeon, where he can ignore shield. That boss puts a huge shield on himself, and with this skill, he will hit him potentially 4 times and ignore the shield. That's pretty nice. Also, a 4 attack first skill screams late game clan boss to me. I know that once you get down to masteries and you start unlocking Giant Slayer and some of those, the multi-hit first skills tend to be desirable. So hitting 4 times on a first skill is pretty nice. Not to mention that he's a defense champion, and it seems like he's going to scale off of defense, which is always extra nice. It's always extra beneficial because you're building him on defense. So you're designing him to be tanky. You're designing him to have a lot of sustain and be around for a long time, and at the same time you're scaling up his damage. So it's always nice when you get a defense champion that scales off defense because you're killing two of the most important birds with one stone, really. You're making him survival, and without having to sacrifice or add priority to stats, you're also scaling up his damage. So I'm digging him. I'm already digging him. Very cool looking little setups so far. Let's go ahead and move on to the next skill. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn, and that chance can go up to 75%, it looks like, and get down to a 3-turn cooldown. So interesting. Now you can't stun the clan boss, you can't stun dungeon bosses, but you can stun minions on waves, and you can stun an arena. And with him scaling off of defense and having the setup he has so far, he might not be a terrible arena defense champ. He's going to be super tanky because of all the defense we're going to be stacking on him, but he's also going to be really scary because of the damage he can do, and now he's got the potential to stun with one of his skills. So, single target crowd control, pretty nice, also scales off defense. Third skill, places a 30% increased defense buff and a 7.5% continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns. Now again, this is so cool because with him defense buffing himself, he's in essence attack buffing himself. It's the same thing as someone like Aethel, who attack buffs herself before she attacks. You see what I'm saying? This is the same thing. The only difference here is that this is so much more useful because you're also shooting his survivability way up with the defense buff. So And it's not selfish. That's one thing I really appreciate about this skill too, is that it's for all allies. it does get aggravating at times when champions have these nice buffs, but they only do them to themselves. So he does it for all allies. So this is a great way to start off a battle. Get the defense buff up and the continuous heal up, and then when the other team hits you a little bit, you'll heal some of it back. You'll still have the defense buff, and he'll be ready to really hammer home and do some damage, because now not only will his defense be high, but he's got the defense buff on himself as well. So pretty cool little kit. I dig it. So let's talk about artifacts. Definitely defense sets. Defense sets are going to be a priority here for sure. So I would say, and he has no debuffs. Oh, he does have a stun. So you could, I don't think it's worth an accuracy set, but if you could find some accuracy in your substats, and over time as you level up your Great Hall, that'll be fine. I don't know that I'd prioritize accuracy on him for a second skill stun, single target stun, no. I just want to shoot his damage way up. So, defense sets for sure. You could squeeze in a speed set if you'd like, if you want to boost his speed a little bit. And very early, if you pull him really early on, I'll say defense percentage on the gloves, defense percentage on the armor, and either speed or defense percentage on the boots. Then as you get a little further and you get your hands on more artifacts and you want to begin to really scale up his damage, you could go crit rate on the gloves, defense percentage on the armor, and then defense percentage or speed on the boots. And I think you're really going to want to focus on defense sets, and then maybe a crit rate set as you get your hands on a nice set. And then if you wanted to throw a speed set in, you could. You could throw a speed set in, look for some speed in your subs, and go defense percentage on the boots and really scale that defense way up. So the priority on his stats is going to be defense, speed, and then as you progress and get your hands on more artifacts, you're going to add crit rate and crit damage to that. And then if you can find a little accuracy in your substats, that'll be great, but I would not prioritize it at the sake of sacrificing your defense or your speed or any of the other stats we've talked about. But yeah, I think he's going to be really useful in the Magic Potion dungeon because of the Ignore Shield. Anybody that ignores Shield automatically has a little bit of usefulness in that dungeon, and with him hitting potentially 4 times, that's pretty cool. I think he'll be good in Arena because a lot of people like to use Shield on their defense, so you could bring him in on your Arena offense and kind of slice through that Shield a little bit. He buffs everybody. He's got a heal for everybody, so he's going to be great in campaign runs because of the continuous heal and the defense buff. He's going to help your team survive longer and push through the campaign waves, as well as the dungeons. So I kind of think you could take this dude pretty much anywhere you wanted to take him. Early game clan boss, not so much, because the multi-hit first skill isn't really a big deal until you get way down into the attack mastery tree, which we're not going to get too much into detail about. But probably not early game clan boss, probably not spiders. But Fire Knight, he's got a lot of potential to do really well, hitting 4 times with his first skill potentially. And then Dragons and Ice Golem he could fit into. So he's got a lot of utility. You could take him almost anywhere you wanted to, and he's going to do well. He's going to survive. He's going to buff your team up with defense and heals, and he's going to do substantial damage because he scales off defense. So I think he's super cool. I did not realize this. I actually had him sitting in my champion box, and I just have not gotten down to him yet. I have not made my way down to really check him out and decide if he's worth building. But I think I might put a little bit of effort into him and have some fun with him. He looks pretty cool. I dig his little colorful armor, and he's got a cool setup. And I think I've got a lot of defense gear I'm not putting to use, so I'm going to throw some on him and see what kind of fun we can have with him. But that'll pretty much wrap it up for Chevalier and the Bannerlords, the rares and the Bannerlords. So I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll be happy to help you out. If you have any comments on him, if you use this champion and you think they're better than I said or worse than they said, or there's some things I didn't touch on that you're using them to do that seems really effective, let us know. Put all the information you can down in the comments, because the real goal of all this is just to get the information out and help people know how to utilize these champions that they want to build. So that's it. I do hope it was helpful. I appreciate you watching. If you want to try to catch me on Twitch, I stream every weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/JGigs. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one, where we will kick off the High Elves rares, I believe. Later.